Services only. Although I am a licensed clinician, I'm also just a person. I love to be able to be in my real life and speak from that point. And that's where this podcast is coming from. So enjoy.
Searching for truth, looking for answers. There must be a way to another day.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
I'm Aaliyah.
And I'm Joe.
And this is Keanvenient Truth. We skipped last week because we had a lot of shit going on. Although it wasn't like either of us didn't want to do it. I really had this thing of like, podcast needs to be done every single week. And I've been really consistent with that. But Cousins Weekend came. And when Cousins Weekend comes, you just can't do anything other than cousin.
Well, we thought about it that day, and then we were going to do it, and then just lost track of time. Plus, I was sick that weekend too, pretty badly, and I'm still like kind of
so annoying. You missed out on so much fun.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, it's not feeling good.
I highly recommend that if you have family that you get along with, but you just don't see often, I highly, highly, highly suggest that you start making that happen and find time to hang out with your family, with your cousins, with your aunts, with your uncles, with all of that, because man, time goes by so fast. My dad's mom had like 11 kids, I believe 11. So each of those kids had like 1 to 4, so we have a huge family, and we lost one of like our first uncles, I think back when COVID first hit. And it gets crazy like as we get older, and then like they start getting older, and then cousins are spread out all over the place. Florida, London, Rhode Island, New York, all these places. So if you have family and you get along and you can do it, make time. Do a cousins weekend.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Even if you just fly out and meet up with them somewhere.
Do it. Take advantage of your family. Take advantage of the people in your life. Take advantage, because those are precious memories, precious moments. So
for sure,
totally try and do that. So yeah,
a lot's been going on while we've been not here. But the Trump got inaugurated. That was a big one. What was that last week? Last Monday?
The 20th, because that was on Martin Luther King Day, and I didn't even realize that. And then when the Cousins Weekend came, they were like, "Oh, it's on Martin Luther King Day. Something's gonna go down. Blah blah blah." And I was like, "I don't know what's gonna happen."
Too obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then the guy's kind of been on fire ever since, like signing executive orders nonstop. I like how he's like videotaping and like actually like talking about the executive order, like on camera as it's happening. That's a nice one to kind of see what's going on.
I mean, I've never seen that until him, but again, I don't really follow politics that much, so it's like
it doesn't exist. It's all of a sudden you just like hear about, oh, Biden signed an executive order, blah blah blah. Speaking of Biden, he pardoned a few people a couple hours before he got out of office. Little suspect. Interesting. Fauci, a bunch of his family members who just so happened to be on checks that were made out to family members from other countries that the Republican some committee on the Hunter Biden the laptop hearing. Well, it wasn't just the laptop, but it was this whole investigation into him and the impeachment of Biden. So there's an ongoing investigation that's going on. Anyways, they found checks and stuff made out to other family members from places like China and like Saudi Arabia and stuff like that.
Mm. Well,
So now those people all of a sudden Biden's just like, hey, you know what? I'm going to pardon them before anything happens. I thought that was interesting.
I mean, let's be clear. Every president is interesting, right? Every president does something interesting,
That's pretty
something
blatant.
suspect. All of them.
I mean, don't you think if you didn't do anything, then why would you need a preemptive pardon?
I don't know. I don't know what people think in their minds when they do things. I have no clue. No clue.
Hmm.
All I know is that it happened. I like to just kind of stay present and focus on fact. And again, the stuff that I read or hear about to me isn't fact. I know it may be fact to other people, like MSNBC may be fact or Fox News may be fact. None of those things are fact
So
to
what's
me.
not fact that what we're talking about right now?
I just don't know what he was thinking in his head when he pardoned them. Like I
Oh.
don't know what the thought process was. Like
Oh,
I
well, I
don't
guess
know.
it doesn't matter. I mean, but the fact is he did pardon them.
Right.
So
I
like,
just don't know why.
so your opinion on, do you have an opinion on that?
No, this is why I'm an awful. This is why therapists can't be on jurors. Like this is why we can't be on. This is why if someone ever sent me a fucking form, a slip to be on a jury, all I have to do is simply say and show them I'm a licensed clinician, and they will say, "Get the fuck out of here." Because I am even keel with everything. Like everything I can literally come back and be like, well, I mean, they did, da, 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 da," and I can see from both sides. They don't like me.
Hmm.
I'm too confusing.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like again, with these bills that he did, like
The
I don't
executive
I
orders, they're
ex-
not bills.
oh, executive orders, sorry. Which to my understanding, since I'm reading up on all this stuff that really
Okay,
bores me, executive
let's
orders
see.
need not be approved and cannot simply be overturned by Congress, according to the American Bar Association.
Right, but certain ones need like
But Congress and the courts can potentially block executive orders in other ways.
right, whether through funding because Congress controls the purse or other means depending. But like, yeah, I don't know. He can't just. He can be like, all right, everybody in Iowa gets a new house. Okay, you can say that. You can write an executive order, but like, where are you getting the money from?
Right, it's
How's that going to
gotta, yeah,
happen?
I mean, it's gotta
Right?
go through like,
Yeah. So
isn't there a chain of command also?
no, not on an executive orders.
Oh.
But because he is in charge of the military, and if the military already has a specific budget and he wants to dedicate the majority of that budget to a certain thing and write an executive order saying, whether it's maybe border security or whatever, then he can do that and nobody's stopping that.
Interesting.
Because the federal government, that's one of their main jobs, is protecting borders.
So again, because and I don't know all of them because there's like so many. I mean, it's wild how many he signed and what went down. But
It is.
I know that there are many of them that I read and I'm like, okay, I get it. Cool. And then there are many of them that I'm like, I'm not really into it, which is why I'm just always in the middle. What's between chocolate and vanilla?
Just great.
That's me, I guess,
Yeah.
I see it from both sides.
Well, at some point you have to make decisions and keep moving, right? So I think that's what he's trying to do. He's like, all right, this is the direction we're moving in. And it does seem, to me, it seems very uniting. Like he's basically saying, he really seems to be pushing for like Americans.
Okay, let's be clear here. Can we have a conversation on what does it mean to be in America?
Sure.
I feel like that guy who does those remember he did that thing on like what does it mean to be like, damn it, he's like a comedian, but he's also super Christian.
I don't know.
Oh my God. Something about, did he do one on like what it was like to be a woman? What it was like to be a woman?
Oh,
That
that
guy.
guy. Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like
Matt. Something.
I
Yeah.
feel like he needs to do one on what is it to be an American, because everyone I've been hearing that term thrown around a lot, right?
All right.
And everyone's like, "Oh, he's going in, he's really for America." And I'm like, "Okay, what does and I'm really asking, what does that mean? Because I think that people's ideas and thoughts of what America means is obviously very different.
Yes, and it
So how
shouldn't be
can we
though.
state just generally, just for everyone, oh, this is what it is to be America, when it's like, well, some people don't believe that that's America.
Well, you can. This is very cut and dry. It's the United States Constitution, which this is why you're so confused and you're not exactly sure is probably because you've never read it before, right? Like a lot of people have never read the Constitution,
Okay.
which you could do it literally tonight.
Joe, does anywhere in the Constitution then, since the Constitution is supposed to be America, right?
Uh-huh.
Is there anywhere in the Constitution that says anything about trans, sex, gender? Like, in order to be American, you have to be like, does anywhere say that?
No.
Okay.
Why is anybody like?
Okay.
No.
Well, but one of the bills that was signed is he's taking
Executive orders or bills?
executive order, sorry. He's taking the gender mark, I guess, off of the passports and not allowing
Yes.
individuals who are trans
Now-
to now basically legally stay on their passport or ID that they are
It's
that gender.
far too confusing, I think.
Okay, but hold on. All I'm asking is a yes or no. So
All
does anywhere in the Constitution say, since the Constitution is America,
Mhm.
does anywhere in the Constitution say anything about, in order to be American, you cannot be trans and you have to be a biological female or a biological male, and you can't say, does anywhere in the Constitution say anything about that?
No, it's American citizen.
So then again, so I'm confused then as to why it's even a big fucking deal. If the focus is on America
let me
and
explain
making
it.
America better,
Well,
then what is the fucking like? I don't understand.
because throughout all of history of life, human race, right? There has always been a male and a female. If there was something to the contrary of that throughout human
I'm gonna have
history,
to eat a cracker for this. Hold on.
if there's something to the contrary of that throughout human history, at this point in 2025, don't you think it would have came out like male, female, X? Or that's just now? You think is just now coming out? No, the Romans, there was lots of transsexuals, gays.
Yes, I know, it's been going on forever.
Yeah.
So why? Is this such a big
why
fucking
was
deal?
there the label is because it's not like a huge population. Like, listen, if there was like, I don't know, there's 8 billion people on Earth, I believe, right? Something like that. If I don't know, even 1 billion people were transgender, or even like freaking 500 million, then I'd be like, okay, maybe we need to find a new word for this new avenue of biology, right? It's not even close to that many. Not even close.
Well, how do you know that?
How do I know that?
Oh.
Because I would, if it was like a significant portion of the population of the world, like you see a guy every day, right? You see a girl every day, right?
I see what appears to be.
Oh, okay.
If I'm going based on just that.
Well, that's another part of this too, is like, I mean, these are natural things that are built into our DNA of like, You're walking down the street and you see a girl down the street or whatever. You get this sense that it's a female or a male or whatever. That's built in to the human race, right? Now, I'm not saying these other I don't even know what you call them. These other types of genders don't exist, because they do, right? But to the point of like changing our language based on a 0.01% of human race population, it seems a little much.
So, do you think that states, countries started to allow gay marriage because they started seeing that, I guess, people who were gay had a higher percentage in the
No,
world? I mean,
no.
what's the
I think that was a political move just to get votes, because I don't think the state has any right to tell anybody. What is marriage, right? It's a thing that religions came up with, right? So based on that religion, then I guess then they determine who can get married and who cannot, right? What does the state, what does the government have anything to fucking do with that shit? So it was just a political move, because they realized, oh, there are people there, and maybe we can get some of their votes. That's it.
so
So now it's like, all right,
listen,
whatever. It can still exist. There's people, gay people can get married, lesbian, whatever, but the government is out of it. That's how I take this.
I think for me, you know, I just kind of fall on this one's a tough one for me. Like, I can't really lean into that executive order because first of all, being someone who
This is at the
works,
federal level, by the way. This
yeah,
doesn't mean like he's wiping that off of the face of the earth. It's a government thing, and any kind of government document or whatever is either going to have male or female on it, whatever the doctor said that you were when you came out of your mom's womb.
listen,
That's what he's saying.
I understand that, okay? But when you hear and listen to individuals who are trans, who absolutely want to be in the gender that they want to be in, and they want to live that way tremendously. That is who they are, that's what they are, that's everything, right? And to walk around with that but still have these moments of like, you know, walking through a security thing or whatever, and it's like, oh, your ID, blah 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 blah, and like being outed or whatever it is in some way, shape, or form. Like, that's a very, I just like that's contributes so heavily to so much of the mental illness going on
Mhm.
that I see and I work with every day. So for me, it's a tough one. And I just think that it's dumb because in my mind, I'm like, again, who cares? Put it on, right? Now, if you're in a doctor's office and the doctor's like, I need to know your biological gender for medical purposes, you know, then okay, fine. Like, I get that, right? But like,
There's so many variables that can get confusing with this, right? So you put this question mark, whatever it is, right, on your passport, right, or even on your license or something, right? Then there are people in that arena that could take advantage of that situation. That I don't
what do
know.
you mean? Take advantage
Well,
of?
first off, you can like, how do you determine this? It's the person's feeling. Is there a doctor involved in this? So any guy, technically, so if you have that avenue open, right? Any guy, pedophile possibly, could just decide, all right, I'm going to write female on here. So that gives me access to every female public bathroom on the planet if they wanted to.
Yeah.
So this is where I'm saying the variables, it's too much, right? That's just one little stupid thing that could happen and probably has happened and will happen, right?
Again, I'm not saying that I don't hear this side, right?
Mm.
I hear it, got it, you know. I mean, like, right. but I can't really step into that side when it comes to that executive order. It's just a hard one for me. Can't do it.
The executive order, all this stating is at the federal level. That's how they feel. That's how it is.
I
We're
just think it's
staying
dumb.
away from it.
I just think it's
This
dumb.
is how it's been for thousands of years. Male, female, pick one, and let's move on. And who gives a shit? That's kind of where
I
they're.
understand that, but the people who actually do have to live that life and do have to now
Yeah.
aren't able, they have to live with that.
Yeah,
And that's a lot.
and for me, I feel bad for those people as well
Do
because
you?
I
Do
no,
you really? Because I mean, I got
I do.
the way you're
I do,
sounding
but there's
right now.
like, listen, there's nothing I can do about it. That's an internal feeling. Like I internally feel like all kinds of things. Like you know, I wish we could move faster with our building our careers, or internally, I wish I could be 24/7 giving out love 24/7 in the most meditative, peaceful, amazing person on earth, but I'm not. I try hard. I do my best. Sometimes it's a struggle. Like sometimes I'm even hitting maybe it's a little bit of depression at times, depending, I've been in different positions in my life where I've felt those ways. I'm not waiting for somebody else to come in and fucking change how I feel inside. Right. So that's up to me to figure all that shit out. Right. And as long as you have a culture, I think, that is open to these things and not saying, oh, it doesn't exist, fuck you.
Yeah, I think unfortunately what'll happen is I think that the people who already, right, like are, you know, phobic about it and just don't like it for whatever reason, although he's not saying, right, because he's not saying like, oh, you just can't allow this, right? He's just saying, hey, look, on a federal level, this is what we're doing. We're recognizing only this and this. Okay, right. But I feel like people who already don't agree with it will latch onto that. And now it's like, oh yeah, that's what he's doing. Yeah, okay, he's trying to get rid of all. And then it's like, forget it. That just causes more like, it's like more fuel added to
Okay.
the
All
fire.
right. So in the past 4 years minimum, we tried the opposite, where the DI and everything, we all freaking made all these different departments and made sure that there is no discrepancy between anybody. And then you start hiring based on gender and race and stuff like this, as opposed to hiring, like, would you rather have, now this is a little bit like, we're getting off the transgender a little bit, but would you, if you got on a plane today,
Huh?
right, and you knew that pilot was only hired because they're a transgender black guy, that's the only reason. They needed to fill 3 roles in American Airlines for the transgender black guy, right? And he's your pilot. Now, obviously you're not racist. Obviously you're not like anti transgender or whatever, right?
Well, my
But
question obviously
is he qualified?
Were they the best?
Is he fucking qualified, right? So
I don't care
to
about anything
me,
else.
I don't give a fuck if it's a racist fucking white supremacist and he has all the gold medals of like flight and valor, and he was in World War I and fucking flew helicopters 3,700 missions and was the best pilot on earth. I want that fucking
Can
guy.
he get the job done?
I want that fucking guy. I don't give a fuck what your preference is, right? So what I'm saying is we went all the way over there. We experimented with this for many years of like, okay, let's be open. Let's bring these people into like these positions and whatever. Well, it didn't really get us anywhere because yes, it included those people, but most of them were not qualified.
How do you
Same.
know that?
Listen, I said most of them. I'm not saying all of them. Maybe not even most of them. Maybe half of them. But some of them for sure were not fucking qualified because you're only looking at that's the criteria of the DEI.
Right. And so I do understand that aspect because to be honest, and actually this came up in a session of mine that I was doing with somebody else because this is when Trump actually had won. This person came in, was very, distraught by it. Scared, because she falls into a certain population. So she was scared. She was talking. She was like, blah, 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 like this, all this stuff. And so think she was saying something along the lines of like, of like, oh, that he's gonna take away, certain things for like minorities and like the gay people and all this stuff. And so I said, not for nothing, but this whole like, you know, uh being a minority and like colleges or jobs or whatever it is picking me because I'm a minority, I'm not really about it. To be
Yeah.
me personally, I'm not about it. But and she was like, "You're not?" And I was like, "No. I want to be looked at as everybody else, regardless." But if you're focusing on the fact that you're hiring me just because I'm a minority, then now you don't make me everybody else. You make me this like golden ticket,
Right. Right.
but if I was everybody else, it wouldn't matter. I would just be another person who was applying for the job or applying for the school, and that would be it. So that I do understand, because that I just pick me because I'm good and then I'm
Right.
amazing.
Right.
Don't pick me because I'm fucking brown skin. Like,
Like,
that's
do
just
these
ridiculous.
people even
So
want
that
that
I get.
position if they're being picked because of
But
a
I think
certain
some
aspect?
people do, though. I think some people do, because when I said that, before I explained my reason, she was kind of like, "Oh, really?" Like she didn't understand. And then I explained why, and she was like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." But I do believe that there are people who actually do feel that they are owed something,
Of course.
right? And
But
so
we
because
don't
of
want
that,
those people in positions of power. We do not want those people in positions of power.
right?
And we don't want those people in positions of like any kind of like safety thing for other people or anything, because they don't know what the fuck they're actually doing. They're just there because somebody picked them out and put them there.
It's a hard one, no matter what, because people want.
It's not hard for me.
Well, people want everyone to be, included, treated as one, blah blah, the whole nine. And everyone wants the same. A lot of people want the same thing. I think the majority of the world wants the same thing. Okay.
Equal opportunity. That's the
However,
key word.
what happens is that then you bring in all these specific things for specific other people.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But then what that does, in a sense, is it does
That actually divides.
make me feel like now I'm not a part of, because now you put me over here in this special
On the
category.
pedestal. Yep.
So I do vibe with that, but then there's so many things I don't vibe with. This is why I'm like, this is why I can't.
Well, this is
why I
where
can't be a juror.
But this is where, like, if you're the federal government, like, you have to make these decisions. You can't just like let it flutter about.
Well, and it's very black or white. There is no middle ground with these decisions. It has to be this or this.
It has to be.
Somebody has. I could never be in a political situation on Congress, anything, ever, 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 because there's always going to be a negative and a positive to each situation. Always, it's never going to match
you're never
up 100% okay.
But once again, like, nobody's ever perfect. Like, as long as like the goal, and that's why our founders were geniuses. They created the Bill of Rights, the fucking Constitution, which is the most closest thing that any society has ever done to like perfecting, like, managing society at large scale. It's the closest fucking thing. And this was 250 years ago. And I think they did an amazing job, although not perfect.
So what's this catch and release?
Catch and release that's
Trump
been
signed an executive order officially ending the federal catch and release. Okay, so this is for immigrants, right?
Yes, this has been an ongoing thing.
Prior to, let's say, Trump doing this, right? What they were doing is, if they caught an immigrant, right, or immigrant got in trouble or something like that,
yeah,
they would catch them, get them, book them, but then release them back in the U.S.
Or
is that what they're saying?
yeah, or like basically they would come across the border, right? And what Biden was doing was actually putting them on buses and shipping them to all these different cities that they call sanctuary cities across the country.
Yes, I remember. Okay.
So instead of like being like, okay, you didn't come in the right way, you didn't go through the avenues like Pete did, like Jay did, or everybody else, right? You just came in, and instead of being like, okay, we have an avenue if you want to come in legally, it's over there, but this is not the avenue.
It's
You
so
got to go back.
expensive. I'm just saying, like, they make it like not really affordable for like people who just can't. I mean, it's thousands of dollars, like thousands and thousands of dollars. I've heard people say like 10 grand they've spent on trying to fucking.
Well, yeah, it depends on your situation, but I mean,
But like still, like it's expensive. So I get, I also
time
get,
consuming,
I
for
also
sure.
get why people who don't have the money but who want a better life for themselves are like, Psh, deuces, I'm
Well,
out of here.
especially if the government is saying, "Oh, we're not going to do anything about it," right? Then why not do it that way?
So what if there's like there's people, right, like living in like other countries and there's like horrific things happening to them, but they just don't have the money to pay for a fucking immigration lawyer and to do all the shit that they have to do to get to the United States, right? And they just like they just
Oh, go get a sponsor.
they just have to deal with it.
Kind of, yes.
That sounds so crappy, especially if there's horrific things happening,
There's horrific things happening everywhere in the world,
like
you
to
know?
kids. I mean, some of the stories I've heard, it's bad. Like it's horrific. So like again, I
I don't.
get it, but I'm also like, oh, it's just
You want a whole country filled with those?
what do you mean with first of all, with those, are
With
you
those
talking
types
about
of
them as though they're
people?
like that's like someone basically calling me like they, you know, like or like, oh, you guys, you know, or like referring to a
that.
whole population of like that was really ugh.
With with what you're describing. How about that? See, and then this is the other problem too of having these fucking discussions. They're very cut and dry and very
I'm
logical,
just saying
right?
that you just
But it's like,
sounded
oh
it
yeah, you said it wrong.
I'm not saying that it just sounded ugh. That's all I'm saying.
Like
Like
those particular people that you
like-
just described, do you want a
I'm
whole
not
country
saying you
full
have
of
to
those
say it
people?
like that,
Like,
but what I'm saying, like when I was in Florida and I went to the supermarket, went to Publix, and I pulled into the spot, and this white man next to me pulled in, and he got upset with me because I was close to his car, and he was like, "You people always do that." It's like that's what kind of statement you just made was like and that's a very like you people.
You just described a particular type of person that is trying to get into this country, right? So
That would be an immigrant.
now that guy that said that to you, there was no context involved. He just fucking said you people. Now that's fucking bullshit, right? You just described exactly a type of person, right? So I
Right.
was like, okay, do you want a lot of that in our country?
Okay, do you want a lot of that? Okay, I but still just sounded.
Okay, well, there is no. Once again, we're this whole podcast we've been dealing in this area where it's either this way or that way, and you want to live in the middle, you're gonna sound like a fucking asshole.
I do not like to pick a side. I'm not a side picker.
You live in the middle, and you're just like me. I like this, but I like that too.
I am. I'm a middle person. I don't care what anyone says. I see it. I get it from both sides.
Well, fine. Then you and a large population of other people that think like you need to allow other people that want to make decisions.
Is there a
to do
large
it.
population of people that think like me? I don't know.
I think there's a
Large?
lot of. Yeah, I think there's a lot of
I
people.
want to find them because I haven't found people that are really in the middle like
It's
I am.
pretty much everyone. What are you talking about? Because
Really?
yes, when you actually have real conversation like we're having right now and like get into a little bit of the nitty-gritty of things, people can see the good on both sides.
Can they?
Or they could see the bad on both sides, whatever. They could see both sides because we're having the conversation. But the problem is most people aren't having the conversation, so they are one-sided right now. But once you open them up to other things and like, oh, you know, you're talking about how these like people they want to come across, but they don't have enough money, right? Okay, most people aren't going to be like, well, fuck them. They can go fuck themselves. No, they'd be like, I get it. I have kids. That sucks. But we live in a country where there's rules. This is the way to get in. My mom did it. You know, a bunch of our friends did it.
Your mom
It
married
can
your
be
dad.
done. Fine.
How
Well,
that
that's
was made it a little easier.
there's your avenue then. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Your mom met your dad while he was in the military.
Yeah, thank
And
God.
that is how that went down, which made it a little easier.
So
for
what are
her.
you saying? See, like then you shit on the easy fucking routes.
So like that's okay then. Like anyone could just they could just like do
Is it
like a
Americans?
90-day fiance type thing where they like basically are like
no, that's also illegal, right? And they
'cause
monitor that
happens.
as well. Exactly, and that's why you have to fucking. I mean, that's still a catchy thing, and that probably happens all the time, right? Where people come in, they get married, they stay married for like 2 years, and then they get divorced.
I feel like I think I have a cousin that I think I'm not gonna say which woman. I think I have a cousin that, and I didn't know this until after the like years after the fact, but I think she did marry a friend. She got married to a friend that was actually an immigrant, and that's how.
Yeah. So there is several ways to become an American citizen, and all Trump is doing is enforcing those several ways to do it. That's it. And if you're not doing it that way, then you got to go back.
Now, what are the other things here? There's so many.
Well, he's releasing the JFK files.
And Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King,
Which
RFK.
I saw his Martin Luther King's family made a statement about that.
Can we talk about something real quick?
Yeah, sure.
So this week is the they're doing the confirmation hearings for the nominees of the Health and Human Services Secretary, which is going to be RFK Jr.
Wait, is there just one nominee per thing? Or
per thing, yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And then there's Tulsi Gabbard, who is National Security Intelligence and Intelligence Director or whatever. And then there is Kash Patel, who is going to be the FBI Director. Now, I think Kash Patel, obviously RFK Jr., that's the fucking one. That's the main one I give a fuck about. But
who's Kash Patel?
Kash Patel is a lawyer. He was with the Trump administration on the first go around. But he is the nominee for that Trump selected to be the FBI director.
Oh.
Right now, the FBI director himself is the only person holding back the Epstein files.
Oh.
That one person has been holding it back. Right. So as soon as he gets in, and he's already made this very clear, everybody's talking about it, right? That is released.
That's going to be wild.
Now, I think the Democrats are probably trying to stop that in the Senate, but
why?
I don't think
they a part of it.
This is what I'm talking about.
Why would anybody?
Why would you want to stop that
from coming out to light?
Why is it not out now? Why?
Like, why was it something that was such a secret? Yet it was like we all knew that what happened in a small scale, but yet you don't want to.
Well, it's because the people that are on the list, which Bill Clinton is probably on that list, right?
But again, many of the people who were on that list, though, weren't necessarily involved with what Epstein was doing.
Not necessarily.
They went to parties. They were on airplanes. They did all these things.
RFK Jr. was actually on a plane,
right?
But he explained his whole story, and it was all basically it was like 2 times or something, and it just so I think what RFK figured out is like Epstein was trying to recruit people to
that makes sense.
Blackmail them or something, right? To get them involved in things that they didn't really want to do, right?
So we hung out with all these people, probably, went out, had fun.
There's probably a bunch of people that
just to kind of see who
feeling them out. And there was probably a bunch of people on those flight lists that didn't do anything and have no involvement, but there's probably definitely some that do. I believe Bill Clinton was on the 10 flights or some shit like that. Same thing with Bill Gates, too.
Now, the chick that was involved with him, Irina, whatever.
Galina. Yeah, whatever. She's in jail right now.
She's in prison, right?
Yeah.
And now they have protection around her because I'm surprised she's not dead yet.
Yeah, I mean, ever since Epstein killed himself.
Right.
Yeah. So all those confirmation hearings are happening this week. Hopefully everybody gets confirmed, and Man, RFK Jr. for sure. That is going to be amazing because all of a sudden after this week, everybody's just gonna be eating healthier.
But that's gonna take quite some time, I would think, for all that to change, right? I mean,
Well,
like
no, he
even with the red dye stuff, it already went through, but they're still selling it,
right,
and they
but
have to sell everything that they have.
well, RFK Jr. could be like, no, that's effective immediately. You guys got to figure this out.
But then no one's gonna have any food.
Poison food that nobody fucking needs
Well,
anyways.
they have to make new food.
Yeah. Well, guess what? They've been making a lot of money over the years selling children poison. So maybe they can use some of that money to fill the gaps during this process. That's what I would say. And if you can't, then maybe you shouldn't be making food anyways. If you're selling so much poison that it's going to fuck your whole shit up, then maybe you shouldn't be selling food. And why don't we let these other companies that are actually making organic, like healthy foods for our nation, why don't we subsidize them or give them a leg up or give them some sort of tax deduction?
You know what's crazy to me though is that so it came out, right, that they're banning the red dye shit and all this stuff, right?
Mhm.
And I get that they're still selling it because I guess I don't know, they have to or whatever. But people are still buying it. Like for
Well,
Cousins
they're
Weekend,
probably
my
addicted
sister
to
had
it.
Doritos. I was like, Doritos? It probably has all that stuff in it. Like, so it's like it's out that it's banned. That's a thing.
Well, you shouldn't tell them that. You shouldn't tell them what they should be eating, you know.
And that's another whole controversy thing too.
You're very logical about it
This
now
is
when it
another
comes to other
thing,
people.
too,
But
where-
today when I'm telling her that like you know, salmon and farm raised is probably not the healthiest food, she's like basically telling me to shut the fuck up. And she's gonna eat it anyways. Well, that's exactly what your sister said to you when she brought the fucking Doritos to the house.
But they banned it.
They're gonna ban fucking farm raised salmon too, probably. All this shit that I'm talking about, it's gone. It's all gonna be done. Or they're at least gonna do it in a more healthy manner. They're not gonna add dyes to salmon.
I mean, how many? Oh,
The security
hiring
clearance
freeze,
revoke.
the hiring freeze of the federal, like any kind of federal employees.
Yep.
So he stopped that. So they're not able to hire anymore.
Well, yeah, in particularly the IRS, who was in the process of
Yeah.
hiring 80,000 new agents. So that's frozen.
Shut them down.
I mean, he talks more and more about like not having an income tax. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, he got rid of the security clearance for John Bolton and Fauci.
Huh.
It was $15 million a year that American citizens were paying in taxes for these people's security.
So what's he saying really about because he addressed the cost of living crisis, but even in this little blurb right here, it says nothing.
You want to play that? Play the video. What's the video say?
Oh, he's like live doing that?
This is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Like people were like he's like at like a rally, basically, it looks like.
Because he's got so many to sign, he like does his like speeches and then he like signs them on the side or like when he's fucking got a few minutes. I swear to God, this guy's fucking hand's gonna fall off.
This guy, look at his hand. It's like it looks like it's swollen. That shit is funny.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Cost of living. So
because I'm like, what do you plan on doing with that?
Well, his
like,
thing
like
is the energy things. He's saying he's going to reduce freaking cost of electricity by like 50%.
You know what he needs to do? He needs to come out here to fucking Rhode Island.
I know. He needs
to come out here to Rhode Island. He needs to talk to the Rhode Island.
There's a fucking monopoly
shit out here. And he needs to see how they are raping every single person out here of fucking money with this stupid fucking electricity company.
Rhode Island has a Rhode Island Energy, and that's it. You have no other options except for like solar. If you want solar, you can do that. And
Stuff.
otherwise, and over the past maybe 5 years, every year they've increased the rates. It was like 30%, 50% was
It's
one.
wild.
They did 50% 2 years in a row.
Don't even get me going
It was
about
insane.
them. I literally
Fucking insane.
And they're the worst customer service.
They have
To
no
get a
customer
hold of it-
service.
To get a hold of anyone is the worst. It's like, and then you just end
It's
up
like a
just
scam.
still paying whatever you're paying because there's no one to speak to. I've been like, let me speak to a manager.
Yep, nothing.
Like, anyway, I digress with that. but
Yeah.
fuck them.
Trump needs to visit Rhode Island.
He
though.
really needs to come here for that one. First foreign policy implemented. I don't know what that means. U.S. foreign aid suspended for 90 days. Trump paused all U.S. foreign assistance programs for 90 days. Wow.
That's great. Because we give out too much fucking money.
Interesting. Rejects global tax deal. What's that? I don't even know what half these things are. The order safeguards American companies from extraterritorial taxation and discriminatory practices.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Jesus, this guy. There's just so much. Trump halts offshore wind. Oh,
That's a great one. Gets rid of the wind turbines.
We have, but these aren't everywhere, right?
They are, or
they're not. Like haven't seen this in New York.
I don't know.
Maybe like
Probably.
upstate or something, and like I mean, I see them. There's a shitload of them here in Rhode Island.
Have them here. That doesn't reduce our fucking
do
electric
anything.
bill at all.
They do nothing. It's a waste of fucking money. Shut them down.
Apparently, they're killing the whales too.
Yeah, that's right. They're killing the whales.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I did in the sauna. I did hear some guys talk, fishermen in the sauna, and they were talking about these wind turbines that are out there, and they're fucking up the fishing industry too in Rhode Island because all the fish are like not where they normally are because they can't stand the sound of these things.
Poor things, especially the whales. You cannot touch the whales. Look at that dog.
That's the Department of Government Efficiency. Doge.
Oh, the Doge.
Established
what,
the department.
Elon Musk and Vivek are?
Yep.
Co-led by Elon and Vivek, the agency aims to eliminate overspending and streamline federal options.
Horrible. I don't know why they would do that. Sarcasm.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Well, there's just too much to talk about in the time that we have.
I think the last thing that I thought was very interesting was that Putin decided to he wants to what's the word? Not expedite.
He wants to
extradite
Fauci, right?
Extradite Fauci to go to trial in Russia on
for the whole COVID thing. Right?
For the whole COVID thing. And that a pardon from Biden does not help. And if Trump isn't willing to protect Fauci, if the Russian police come over here to grab him and bring him to Russia, then I don't know what's going to protect him.
But Fauci's a superhero to so many people, Joe.
Listen, I don't know.
That was really sarcastic.
I'm not like for or against Fauci or whatever. I just it seemed I've looked at a lot of the evidence and it seems a little suspicious. So I would like to hear a trial and see what he was doing during this whole process, right?
Nice fair trial.
Yeah, he'll get that in Russia.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, hello. All right, the kids are coming down now.
She's coming.
Cash has woken up from his fucking 10th nap.
So, yeah, I mean, this is our catch up, but that was the best we could do. We went a little political on that one. And sorry if I come off. I don't mean to come off as like no. Sucks, right? No, come off as like I am not anti-trans or gay or anything. I just understand.
Because if you were, I wouldn't be with you.
I just actually appreciate like federal agencies and even like state and local whatever, like just stay out of that shit. Just stay out of it. I think that should be the rule. That should be the law. We have no say whatsoever on gender. Just take it off of the fucking all kind of federal documents. You don't have to say.
What you are. Yeah, fuck it, right? Like, who cares? Get it out of here. Everyone could just
But
be.
once again,
Then
that's where it gets
then we
confusing.
just are.
But then that's where it gets confusing, right? Like, it's like for certain things.
Whatever. Well, again, I hear it, but like, whatever.
Like, there's a guy in the bathroom, and then the police come, and they're like,
Oh yeah, certain
and he's
situations
like, well,
will get hairy, I guess.
yeah, I declare myself a female, so I'm here in the female bathroom.
Oh God, so ridiculous. Okay, well, everyone, hope you enjoyed, and we will see you again next week. Hoping that we don't have another cousins weekend that'll take that away. Although I
we'll
love
be
my
good.
cousins weekends; they're so much fun, and I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, we're locked in for a little while. We're going away
February,
towards the end of
February, out of
but,
here.
but that's
Back to
we'll
our
be back
homeland.
but we'll be back on the weekend, right?
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, so we'll be good.
Back to Florida.
Sunshine State. Oh yeah.
Florida. All right. See you guys. Have a great week.